everyone. My name is Gloria Ramchandani, and today we're going to be talking about value-driven planning and its impact on low-code platforms, the DevOps edition. I'll start with a brief introduction. My name is Gloria. I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Senior Director of Strategy and Business Operations at Capato. I am a product and technology leader with over 10 years of experience and help really companies deliver technology-based solutions for digital transformations. Some of my areas of expertise include product management, DevOps, agile management, value stream mapping, and more. And on the side, I also do strategic advisory work for Tiercera.io, a VC firm which is focused on cloud services business. And when I have free time, I do spend time with my two children. So I'm a mom of two. Now, a little bit about me and why low code is such a special topic for me. I actually started my career back at AirWatch, which was acquired by VMware, starting in a role to manage their partner program and also their CRM. And their CRM actually happened to be one of the biggest low code platforms called Salesforce. Now, I previously went to school for hospitality and had zero background or technical training on computer science or software in general. And when I arrived at AirWatch, I really was a business user. I understood the business and the business needs and the impact. And Salesforce really empowered me to utilize clicks, drag and drop, low code features to build and customize applications for, at the time, one of the largest mobile device management companies. And I quickly fell in love with the Salesforce platform and moved on to spend a number of years in consulting, where I consulted with large enterprise customers on their digital transformations, and Salesforce really was the center of that. And so over at Aperio and 7 Summits, worked with customers like Coca-Cola, Stryker, Ceridian, Google Cloud, where I really helped them shape their digital experience and also advised on how Salesforce could be the center of that. Now, more recently at Capato, I have spent some time over in our product organization, launched two products, one in the analytics space, one in the value stream mapping space, and now oversee all of our strategy and business operations across the operations org. Now, today we'll be talking about low-code platforms, what exactly they are, some of the benefits, the business outcomes. We'll then move on to explain value-driven planning and its impact on low-code platforms, some key activities that take place in value-driven planning, and then we'll end with, planning, analytics, monitoring, and really its impact on low-code platforms. And we'll end really with some resources that you can take back with you today to learn more on low-code or value-driven planning. Now, let's start with low-code. What exactly is low code? Low code is more than just a development buzzword. It's an alternative approach to traditional software development that is visual instead of manual. And so with a low code development platform, teams can use friendly graphical user interfaces, think drag and drop and point and click, to really customize applications. Now, since specialized software knowledge isn't really needed, business users can use clicks to support professional developers in creating the custom applications or workflows your customers, employees, and partners need. Now, all of this is especially important in today's digital age. Increasing customer expectations have pushed business innovation into the clouds. And we live and work in a world where digital customers expect an always on, always upgraded, and always personalized digital experience across a multitude of devices and channels. Customers are on 24/7, and your business must be agile enough to plan the releases for the features and products that meet their needs in order to really stay relevant. Now, these increasing expectations are forcing companies to move their digital transformations further and further into the clouds. 20 years ago, development infrastructure shifted from heavy, siloed on-premise systems to the cloud. And over the last 10 years, the majority of custom app development has been pro-code based, but Gartner is very clear that by 2025, over 70% of new applications developed will be based on low code or no code enterprise technologies, meaning that business users with no technical experience will be able to push changes into production based on clicks and configuration alone. Now, why is that relevant to value-driven planning? It's relevant to planning because now we have an influx of business users entering the technology space with these, let's say, pro-code capabilities to make modifications to applications on low-code platforms. And the way you plan really impacts what actually gets released to production. Now, let's talk about some of the pain points. Low-code platforms are critical in today's market due to some of the current pain points that we all experience. Now, complex DevOps processes, which traditional software brings, the growing developer talent gap. I myself have been trying to recruit for months now, and it's really hard to find resources, and the cost of resources have frankly gone up. And then security. Really, most traditional software requires separate security protocols and opens you up for risk. Now, complex app development really delays innovation. Here we see all of the various personas that we work with today, the architect, your release manager, your QA manager, business analyst. And so without a low-code platform, really the impact is at large. Businesses delaying innovation has a massive impact on the broader company. And with this complexity to deliver at speed and quality across many different roles, the impact is poor productivity, loss of business, missed business opportunities, and really slower time to market. Now, low-code platforms are sophisticated yet simple. Low-code platforms help you align your teams with agile planning, with powerful low-code capabilities like drag and drop, point and click. With low code, you can take any business problem and create a set of pages using drag and drop tools that directly solve your business needs. And low code development platforms are versatile enough to build game-changing experiences, including apps to support operational efficiency, employee engagement, workplace, data management, and even customer engagement. Now, what are the business outcomes of adopting a low-code platform? How do you know that you're being successful? Let's look at these three categories. We have speed, we have innovation, and we have quality. Now, the metrics below those three pillars really represent each pillar. With speed, it's how fast can you deliver to a production environment. We see deployment frequency. With innovation, it's how long does it take to build a feature all the way from the beginning of the inception of the feature in the planning process through build to development and then release. That's your lead time for change. How fast are you getting features out to your production environment for your business users to utilize? And then for quality, we have change failure rate. Change failure is really how often are you introducing a failure into your application as a result of a release. And if you've introduced a failure, how fast do you recover from that failure? That's your mean time to recover. Now, your business impacts are really reduced friction in the delivery process, which makes software teams' jobs easier, and the organization sees value more quickly. That's your speed. When software teams get feedback more often, they are likely to deliver more work that benefits the organization, the right stories, the right features, and that's innovation. And with reduced risk and duration of failures means software teams have more time to deliver valuable work, and the organization avoids the high cost of downtime. That is your quality. Now, how do you ensure that the teams are delivering the most value in the shortest amount of time? Let's take a look at our DevOps cycle. Our DevOps cycle with its various phases actually starts with plan. Plan being the first is actually one of the most critical phases in the DevOps cycle, as value-driven planning has large impacts on the business. And the foundation for DevOps remains thoughtful and planning, regardless of your methodology. Now, let's take a look at this first stage in lean thinking, which is really the foundation for DevOps, as shown in this figure with the 5-step diagram. It's important to see our work in context by making explicit which customer we're serving and what value we're delivering. It's also important to explicitly state which team is doing this exercise in case there are multiple teams at your organization, since they may follow different processes. And as a part of lean thinking, which is the foundation of DevOps, identify value is really that first step. You then map the value stream, create flow, establish pull, and then seek perfection, and it starts all over. But how do you identify value? And as a part of planning, what are some of the key activities that help you drive identifying value? Let's take a look at some of the key activities and outcomes that you complete during the plan phase. Now, as a part of the plan phase, some key activities are discovery workshops, defining your features within applications, defining the business value tied to those features. And as a part of defining that value, really a current and future state analysis is critical. As a part of a current state analysis, identifying pain points, identifying points of friction, identifying savings and cost. Your current and future state analysis really set that foundation for business value definition when you go through the feature and application and epic and user story definition process. Creating your releases in sprints and then defining your high-level stories and scheduling those into sprints and releases are all a part of the planning process. And these are all really critical activities that take place. Now, for those of us that need a reminder or a primer on what a story is and why user story is so critical to planning, well, user stories are really the core of planning. And let's talk a little bit about what a user story is. Stories are actually short descriptions of a small piece of desired functionality, really written in the user's language. May that be your business user, your customer, your partner. It's really written from the perspective of the persona. Now, Agile teams implement small vertical slices of system functionality, and stories are really sized so that they can be completed in a single sprint or a single iteration. Stories provide just enough information for both business and technical users to understand the intent, and details are deferred until the story is ready to be implemented. And through acceptance criteria and acceptance tests, stories get more specific, helping ensure system quality. But all in all, your stories really should be understandable, estimatable, and verifiable. Now, once your stories are built, you also have development tasks, and that's really how we break down the work. In this visual, we can see that the functional work, where we have our business value, may be defined at the epic, feature, and story level. But really where we break it down for the development team is at the task level. And tasks are mainly created by technical consultants, but anyone on the project team can create tasks. Tasks could be assigned an action to the customer to research something, or they could be assigned to a business analyst to research an additional item that's related to the story. But let's talk through, going back to business value and value-driven planning, why is value so important as a part of this whole process? Well, when it comes to DevOps, iteratively delivering work is only half of the battle. We saw how work gets broken down from a story to a task. We talked a little bit about the lean thinking system and also why identifying value is important. But everything your team does really must start with effective planning, because no matter how good your teams are at building and delivering and developing, if they aren't delivering the right things, the business ends up suffering. And it has been shown that IT teams impact overall business results because everything that happens on the micro level within IT teams is magnified as internal users within the overall business begin to use or cannot use the features being delivered. IT teams may be small compared to the overall size of the company, but they have a massive impact on the business and how it operates. And so the more effective teams can be in planning the right features that provide the maximum amount of value to your end users, the more likely the business is to thrive. And so prioritization, as we see here, is really an art and a big piece of the planning cycle. Once you have your features defined, your applications defined, and your stories defined, what order they go in as a part of the prioritization process helps determine what's going to bring the maximum amount of value to your users for a given sprint or a release. Now that we understand value-driven planning and all of the bits and pieces of the planning cycle, how do we effectively monitor? Now, monitoring really feeds information back into planning. And there's a nice comic here. This is actually one of my favorites. And you'll see here, you can read through this. Our new dashboard has all of the different KPIs we can track now. And someone asks, what's that KPI trending to 0? And he says it measures how well we understand them all. Now, in today's age, we have so many metrics, so many analytics, and it's really important to have the right metrics that matter. And so as we think about analytics that can infer and inform planning, you'll see here an example of a dashboard, and then also the 4 key DORA metrics, which we highlighted earlier. Your analytics really can inform how well you've planned your work. And the way that you can measure that is by looking at product usage metrics. How often is your feature that you developed and deployed being utilized? Your time to market, how long did it take for you to get that very valuable feature to market? Was there a cost associated with that delay? How many failures or errors did your new feature bring to production once it was released to your customers and partners? That can inform how well and how thoroughly we may have planned that feature from a technical perspective. And then what is your mean time to restore? How long did it take to fix those errors? And that may go back to some of the complexity behind how that work was built or architected. And so as you build out your dashboards and your analytics, really think through what are those valuable metrics which are going to tell you if you were successful in your prioritization and your planning process. And as we think through, the agile movement and Scrum methodology, continuous iteration, we want to make sure that we're continuously iterating on our process and getting better through analytics. And so analytics really can inform your planning, but also help you get better. Now, before we go through resources, today, what we learned and what we went over in the presentation is we learned that senior developers and architects have more recently have had to keep up with a growing demand from the business to build software faster. Breaking down the code barrier with low-code platforms helps teams move faster and really decreases the time to market of important builds. We went over the importance of value-driven planning with low-code platforms and the growing demand from the business to build software faster. How do you ensure that teams are delivering the most value without sacrificing speed? We talked about user story development. Are the right stories being worked on? We talked about prioritization. We also talked about key activities that take place during discovery and the planning process. And then we ended with monitoring and analytics and reviewed how you can measure your teams with metrics that truly matter. Now, for those of you out there that are looking for resources, there's lots of resources for low-code platforms, for value-driven planning. I highly recommend the VSM Consortium. Value stream management, value stream mapping is a trending topic and really defines and talks a lot about value, business value, and how you map the value stream. Obviously, Capado, we have a Capado community where you can get more information on your DevOps process, what DevOps is, and also how to build with DevOps on the Salesforce platform. Salesforce has some great trailhead courses and modules on DevOps and also value-driven planning and low-code platforms. There's also Scaled Agile Framework, which has some pretty strong opinions about value-driven planning and all the key activities that take place within the planning cycle and how to calculate business value and how to do prioritization. A very good friend of mine, Andrew Davis, has written a book called Mastering DevOps for Salesforce. And so Mastering Salesforce DevOps is a really great book. You can find that on Amazon. And then last but not least, the DevOps Institute. DevOps Institute has really been critical for me. And so of all of these resources, please go out there, take a look at them, and you can learn more about low-code platforms and value-driven planning and its impact on low-code platforms. Thank you, everyone, for your time today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Very happy to be here. Thank you.